told me to quit my job, and that's what I did. Yup, I did that. It's your girl Bri. If you didn't know, now you know, and I'm back again with another YouTube video. So as you can see from the title, I quit my job. I'm just gonna cut straight to the chase because it was a lot. First things first, I want to tell y'all that this was my first healthcare job. Healthcare is just as bad as retail. So my job was working as a patient access representative. You can call it a receptionist, you can call it a medical secretary, you can call it whatever. That was my title. I used to take the patient's information, I used to have them sign papers, check them in for their appointments, call them to confirm their appointments. I did a lot. Let me give y'all the full rundown. Today is Saturday. Yesterday was my last day.
Finally!
I put in my 2 weeks notice. I did not plan on showing up for my last week, but things happened. So I was like, you know what? Let me go in, let me get this money. You know, work week is 5 days. Monday was a holiday. And Tuesday I called out. So I ended up working 3 days out of the 5, but still I showed up. Why did I quit my job? It was cool at first. I started this job in February. Around March, that's when everything started happening with Corona. When everything with COVID started happening, they started putting me from like one position to another position. So I would be working in like our diagnostic center, and then all of a sudden it was like, okay, well, we need you to work in the cancer center. And I'm like, okay. When everything happened with Corona, they closed down the diagnostic center because that was like an optional type of thing. Then because cancer center patients are like at risk for Corona, they closed down the cancer center. In my job as a patient access representative, they would have us, you know, kind of float. So from me floating from one center to the next center, I ended up in the emergency room. Okay, let's rewind back. First things first, I was working per diem. So what does that mean? That means basically I'm working whatever hours that they need me. When I was hired, I was told that I could work full-time hours. Now, working per diem means that you can work full-time hours, but you won't get benefits. So when I first started, I was like, you know what, that's fine, because that's like what, health insurance and a 401k. Like, I wasn't thinking that that was necessary. No. Benefits also include sick days and paid time off. And that's the problem right there, honey. Okay, let's go. I'm making full-time hours. My check's looking a little thick. So I was like, you know what? I'm good here. At first, I was scared to work in the emergency, but I'm like, you know what? I'm already working at a hospital facility. I'm already putting myself at risk. Like, now I've learned like 3 different positions just under my one job title. Like that. Still ain't even 3 months yet. They ended up cutting hours so much that I ended up not having any hours. I ended up being home for 2 months because the people that worked full-time hours still needed to get their hours. So they were the priority and I wasn't. I guess they looked at it like, she don't really have bills. She's young, like she'll be okay. You guys have mortgages and stuff. Honey, I don't have bills, but I still got stuff to pay. When they ended up finally bringing me back, my boss was like, listen, I'm sorry. I was trying to find hours for you, but it just was like such a limited amount. I was like, you know what, it's fine. She felt like when I came back that I had an attitude, like I didn't want to be there. And I was like, if I didn't want to be here, I wouldn't be here. Like, clearly I need the job, that's why I'm here. I was already having issues with my supervisor. She was micromanaging me and talking down to me, just being a little bit disrespectful. A lot of other people felt like it was just because I was young. Yes, you were a little bit wiser, you're a little bit older, but we're both still adults.
Anyway, so
she kind of went and talked to another coworker, and they were both like agreeing like, oh yeah, it feels like she doesn't want to be here. So she called me into her office and she was like, oh, can I talk to you? Because I spoke to, let's just say, Julia. So my boss was like, I spoke to Julia and we both feel like, yeah, you're kind of like different, like you don't want to be here. And at that point I was like,
bro, what are you talking about, man?
One, why are you talking to somebody else about me? You could have just came to me and said that. And then two, I was at home for 2 months with like little to no communication, And I didn't even know if I was gonna have a job. Like, if y'all wanted to cut me off, y'all could have just cut me off. I could have found another job. I could have been collecting my little unemployment. And you gonna have the nerve to come and be like, oh, I have an attitude? No. Of course, you're gonna come back and be a little bit like, hey, like chilling, because you don't know where you really stand at the job. And that's how I felt. You know what? This wasn't even the first time she did that too, that she went and talked to somebody else. Really, it was just a whole lot of childish things happening with adults. Like people like twice my age. Like, it's too much drama. But anyways, honey, back to the story. To go more in detail about the issues I was having with her, it would be like, I call her for help with something because I was still in my probationary period. I'm still learning stuff. I would call her and I'd be like, hey, can you help me with this, because I'm trying to verify this insurance. And she'd be like, but didn't I show you how to do that? I know I showed you how to do that, right? Because you go in and then you click this, right? Remember I showed you? Didn't you write it down when I showed you? You ain't gotta do all of that. Like, you don't have to do all of that, ma'am. See, I'm the type of person, if you show me how to do something correctly, I'ma do it. If you show me how to do something and then you see that I still don't know how to do it, what does that mean? That you didn't show me how to do it correctly. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're gonna train somebody. Show me how to really do it. And then I won't have no issues. But if you only show me shortcuts, that's how I'm gonna do it. Because that's how you showed me, right? I'm getting upset all over again, because I'm telling you, she tried me one too many times. She kept pulling me into her office to be like, oh, can we have a talk? And I'm like, we don't need to keep having talks if you just gonna keep doing the same thing. These are things that I be thinking. In front of them, I just be like, no, y'all understand. Right. Yeah. Okay. I don't really got nothing to say to you. I was starting to get to a level where I was getting frustrated, and that's when I knew that I wouldn't be able to stay at this job anymore. My mom actually said it. She told me that I would not stay at this job by Christmas time. And we in September and I'm out of there. So it got to the point where I would be coming home frustrated all the time and complaining. It was about my boss. Like, why, when I call you to ask you a simple question, you keep rambling on like, didn't I tell you how to do this? Yeah, you should know how to do this, because right now I'm busy and I don't understand why you're calling me. Like, why are you calling me? Well, could you call somebody else for this, because I'm busy right now? I mean, I guess I can just kind of help you right now to do it. It gets to the point where you realize that you can no longer have a conversation with a person, and that's when you know that you don't need to be there no more. In my experience working there, and in the midst of the whole corona situation and everything like that, I realized people were like, we love our essential workers. We love our frontline workers. You want to know what they did for essential workers? They gave us cold sandwiches and sodas. Like, now I know some people are like, well, at least you got something. At least you're getting paid. I was very appreciative, because I said, you know what? At least I'm getting a check. They didn't give us bonuses. They didn't give us hazardous pay. Most of the time, we didn't even have the proper protection. We were wearing masks for 1-2 weeks. You have to beg people to give you a mask. Like, I mean, I work here, don't I? Like, why you can't give me a mask? Like, am I supposed to pull one out my ass? And this hospital is $1 million hospital. I was face to face with patients that have donated millions of dollars to this hospital. Don't try to act. Don't try to act. The final straw for me was when I got to a point where I take Ubers and Lyfts to get to work. Once like Corona really started getting bad, Ubers and Lyfts stopped doing the pool rides. So I would literally spend like $40 each day to get to work, to and from work. So I explained that to my boss, because like I said, my hours were cut. So I went from having 40-hour weeks to 20-hour weeks. My checks were looking skinny. I let my boss know, like, hey, you know that I use Uber and Lyft to get to and from work. And because you guys, like how my hours are set up, a good chunk of my check goes back into me coming to and from work. And she was like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna talk to like the higher ups about it and see what they can say and everything like that. She came back to me and basically gave me an ultimatum. The higher ups, not even including her, they had a meeting and discussed it, and they said that I should go to another location. If I want full time, that my only option was to go to another location. There's always a catch though. The catch was the new location had a higher rate of corona patients, like in the hundreds each day. Like, you want me to go work where? She's like, yeah, we need you to go work in their emergency room. They really need help. They're like so backed up. So yeah, that's your option. I was like, my option? And she's like, yeah, like, I believe she told me this on a Thursday. I was supposed to go start at this new location on Monday. If I didn't take this opportunity at this new location, it would be like I'm turning in my letter of resignation. And I told her, no, it's not. Y'all letting me go if I don't take this option. Y'all just don't want to give me more hours. So you're telling me that if I don't agree to go in this new location on Monday, that I no longer have a job. And I'm the one quitting? No, you're letting me go. So I talked to my mom about it. My mom's like, you can't go over there if they have that many corona patients, because I live with my elderly grandmother and I take care of my godson, a toddler, on a weekly basis. So I was like, there's no way that I can put myself that much at risk. Like,
are you dumb?
Girl. She was like, I know. I told him, I talked to them about it, but yeah, that's the decision. And I was like, okay, so I'm not gonna do that. So I guess I'm not gonna work here no more. So you want me to leave now? And she's like, oh, you're gonna leave right now? I was like, yeah. She was like, well, we would need your letter of resignation. And I was like, see, I'm not doing that because I'm not resigning. You're letting me go. And she was like, well, if you leave without a letter of resignation, it's like you're abandoning the job. I was like, listen, I'm not abandoning nothing. You putting me in between a rock and a hard place, and I'm telling you, I'm not gonna do that. So y'all can figure it out. She was like, yeah, I'm gonna talk to him. I'm gonna talk to my supervisor. I was like, yeah, you could talk to him, and once you figure it out, you let me know. She talked to him, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh, no, that's okay. You can stay here. We have a position here for you. I already knew that I needed to get another job. I was already looking for another job. So I was like, that just solidified it for me, applying for a new job on the clock, because y'all got me messed up. So from that, they still ended up moving me to another location. It was much better over there. I was in an office, like we were all closed in. I didn't have any contact with patients. But because I already had like so many bad experiences just working for that hospital, I was like, I'm still gonna leave. And that's what I did. Imagine people that were working there for like 20 years. Like, I'm 22 and I had people that were working, they were like, I've been working here since before you were born, and they were telling me like, do not stay here for the rest of your life. Like, stay here for maybe 1-2 years. And I didn't even stay there for that long. I didn't even touch a year, y'all. Like, come on now. I honestly kept looking for signs because I would get so frustrated. So I started praying a lot more than I usually do, and I was asking God, like, give me a sign. And when everything happened where they were telling me like I would need to resign if I didn't take the position, I really took that as my sign, and I held on to it because it was just mentally draining me. I was like, no job should be making me feel this way. Like, no. I did everything they asked me to do without hesitation, and it still felt like it wasn't enough. It still felt like I wasn't appreciated. I was being disrespected. Like, the fuck? Like, forget y'all. I will find another job, and that's what I did, honey. So yeah, I quit my job. Quit. This is the sign. You needed a sign. This is the sign. Quit. You will find something better. Period. So yeah, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe as always, and I will see you in the next video.
What the hell I need to
Big stepper, red hot like chili peppers. Been doing this shit for so long that it don't take no effort.
And if you made it all the way to the end of this video, enjoy this video of me dancing because I was excited to quit my job.